Hey everybody, this is MyCollectables coming back with another video for you. This video is all about the exclusive comic book covers that we have on Veve. But before I get into the video, if you want to hit like on the video after you've watched it, that would be awesome. Also, you can subscribe to the channel if you want to be involved in like some of the giveaways on our live stream. And you can join the channel membership if you want for $1 a month. And that also enters you into like some of the giveaways we do on the live stream and builds our community. That would be great if you want to do that. Or if you just want to watch the video, that's awesome as well. I hope you're having a great day, so let's get into it. So, Veve covers. Now, the comic books in Veve are amazing. They're super fun. We have lots of versions. We have grails. We have comics that aren't grails, but great. But what we also have are comic book covers that you can't find anywhere else in the world. And I think that is really important. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit just to get into it because it's a whole area of collecting that some people are doing and looking for an edge, you know, as they get, you know, further along in the app. And some of the comic book covers that we have that are actually exclusives are like quite rare in value, in number, and also the value of them is going to start going up. But there's a great opportunity for a lot of them. You can pick them up now, you know, for actually quite cheap. So let's get into it a little bit. So now, nowhere else in the world can you find some of these comic books. I'm going to show you a few of them right now. But like Veve has really got something going on here that is really cool. Now, in comic book collecting and in the, you know, the last bunch of years in the real world with physical comics, you know, one way that they've actually tried to get more sales on comics is to offer like exclusive covers with different artists. And they've taken some of these comics that have like come out and released with new stories and things like that. And they've offered like exclusive covers that like are only available at Comic-Cons or wherever, or limited print runs, and that's really driven up the value and given collectors a lot more choices. So Veve actually has the same kind of thing going, which is, you know, makes complete sense. And you know, with some of these comics that we have exclusive covers, some of the art is incredible, but more importantly, it takes a comic that isn't super grail-ish in the app right now, that isn't highly valuable, and it gives it a little extra edge. So like I said, you know, should we be collecting these? And in my opinion, I think we should. I think people should be focusing on these a little bit more than they have been. You know, the common regular covers of a lot of these comic books are fantastic as well because it matches the real world comic. But the exclusive covers that you can't get anywhere else outside of this app, that is pretty incredible as well. So, you know, what does an exclusive cover do for you? An exclusive anything? Well, if you're into toy collecting like I am as well, exclusive toys, you know, exclusive releases, they really drive up the value, especially on the most popular stuff, you know, the most sought after stuff. But on the other stuff that isn't as popular, isn't as valuable, exclusives really, really have their place. There's a whole market of exclusive toys that, you know, maybe the character wasn't as, you know, important in like, you know, as another character, like, you know, like maybe it wasn't SpiderMan or something, but the exclusivity of the actual item makes it go way up in value. So in Veve, we have the same kind of thing. We have comics that are like, you know, not high value, but they have that exclusive cover that you can only get here with that art that's really beautiful, and they're very, very limited. It's usually only the ultra rare and the rare editions of these comic books, right? So, you know, comic collectors, like they're coming even more and more every day to the app. And what do comic collectors and other collectors like? They like a bit of an edge, you know? They're trying to find that extra little bit that's going to push it over the top and get these kind of collectibles that are very rare and hard to get and no one else has. And we're so early in the app right now that you could be doing the same thing. So anyway, let's get into it a bit more. Not all variants on the app are actual Veve exclusives. So Ultimate Fallout 4, one of my favorite comics on the app and in the world, their secret rare you can see right here that is just a duplicate of the one that's in the real world. Now that's really cool as well because people can match up, you know, the comic in the app to the comic in the real world. So that's totally awesome as well. But their variants, you know, aren't actually, you know, Veve exclusives. You know, not all the comics in the app have those variants on the rare and the ultra rare. So there's only some that have. I mean, lots do now, and I think almost every comic they've been releasing in the last while has had this. And I'll show you at the end of the video how you can actually find out if it's an exclusive to Veve, you know, it usually says right in the thing, but I'll show you just a bit, right? Because some of them you can't tell and you have to look a bit deeper to find out, or just look at the original post that they do, right? But anyway, so this particular comic, like I said, is not an exclusive to Veve, but it is an exclusive print cover, and so it has more value in the real world, and it also, you know, of course, because it's a secret rare in the app, it's got more value as well. But it's not a Veve only cover, right? Whereas, for example, if you look at the Daredevil #1, this was a, you know, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the first time that Veve did an exclusive only to Veve cover, where they actually commissioned an artist, you know, to actually do the cover, and then they released this as the ultra rare and the rare. And this happened back in October with the, you know, with Comic-Con that happened, the New York City Comic-Con, and this was, you know, literally for that, right? It was released, you know, as a Veve, you know, exclusive only cover, right? And so you can see the ultra rare goes for about $7.70 because, you know, it's Daredevil #1. It's a big comic, but the rare only goes for about $162. So actually that's quite good. The rare actually is the same kind of cover, just a slight color variant, less colors, more of a black and white. But anyway, pretty amazing, right? But, you know, this is a big comic in the real world, so you can see the value. But I want to show you some comics that, you know, aren't super valuable on the app yet, but they're exclusive covers, you know, they deserve more attention. So let's check it out. Just an example, right? So we have a comic in the real world that is pretty good. Like this is, you know, the Tales of Suspense 57, first appearance of Hawkeye. This was also an earlier one that they did where they did like a Veve exclusive. Now this particular one, this is the ultra rare here. It only goes for about 156 gems. So that's really cheap for like an exclusive to Veve only cover that you can't get anywhere else in the world. And it's the ultra rare. And then of course there's the rare version that I don't show here, but it's a different color version. So you can see that, like, you know, this particular comic could be, you know, quite undervalued. The fact that you can't get this anywhere else, right? And it's actually a really good comic, like in the real world. So think about that. And if we get to like a more recent comic, like this Spider-Man comic that came out, in my opinion, this cover is so gorgeous, and it's only available in Veve, right? But in the real world, this comic isn't a massive grail, but this exclusive cover in time can really push this comic book over the top. You know, this particular one, this is the ultra rare. It goes for about 72 gems right now because it's brand new. And of course, you know, the rare goes for about 34. A lot of people like the rare better because it's black and white around her, and that's the Black Widow, right? And it shows her history and everything. So it's a cool comic book. But like, you know, the rare actually just shows the color version of her only, so it's kind of even more present. But you know, this kind of thing can really help a comic that isn't a massive grail. It could actually push it over the top because these are so limited in how many are available as well. The you know, with the ultra rares and the rares, as you know, there's way less edition sizes. So you kind of combine that with the exclusive to Veve only cover, and in a couple of years from now, this could be really valuable. Like, you know, any of these, right? Now, this is another newer one that happened. I just wanted to show you this one too. Fantastic Four with the She-Hulk, you know, and this comic as well has got a really cool ultra rare cover and a rare cover. Same sort of idea. This one goes for about $113 for the ultra rare, which is really cheap. And then you can get this for $45 for the rare as well, right? So this is another comic that I think is in the long term could be really fun, especially with her She-Hulk show coming out. She's going to get a lot more of attention. And, you know, if you can only get this cover in Veve, then like that kind of makes sense, right? So these are other newer ones as well. Like I said, I wanted to show you ones that aren't massive comics in the real world, like massive, like Amazing Spider-Man 1 or something, you know, but are still good comics. Like this is, you know, the X-Men comic. This is, you know, this is the first appearance of Bishop, and this is also a Veve exclusive cover. It goes for 70 gems. You can get the ultra rare. It's so cheap. So like this comic book cover, like I said, you know, collectors are going to see this and say, well, that's cool. I can't get that anywhere else, you know, only in this app. And that actually is really important. So think about that, right? And then I wanted to hit up on the Ghost Rider comic. So this is also a newer comic as well, but this one is bigger in the real world, and people seem to love this one quite a bit. It's actually flying right now. And this cover right here, as along with the rare cover, are only available on Veve. So that is amazing as well for comic collectors. This one's already going for about $350. 50, but it's even going higher than that, I believe, right at this moment when the video comes out. And the rare is going for about 97. So you can see that, like, when a comic book has an exclusive cover, has low edition numbers, and the cover is cool, right? Like, the art has to be really good. And then also, if it's a comic in the real world, you can see like how it can be like really valuable quite quickly, even in the app. So like, this comic you can't get anywhere else, right? So that's kind of the point of the whole thing. Are you going to be collecting these, ultra rare and rare Veve exclusive only comic book covers? I am. I think it's great. I think it's another level of collecting. In fact, if you wanted to do like a niche thing, you could just go for all of the alternate covers, in the app. You could like literally have that as a focus of a collection and then display them all in the vault. I mean, that's really amazing. So where can you find out how, if a comic book in the app has an exclusive cover? All right. So there's lots of comics in the app. So this is how you could find out. This is one way. You could just click on the comic book itself. Like if you go to the marketplace and you click on the comic book and you tap on the, like, say, the ultra rare of a comic, and this is the Tales of Suspense one. This is the one with Captain America and everything, and Peggy, right, that just came out. And so anyway, you can see that right down here in the description, they've started to add this where they actually say it's an exclusive Veve cover variant. Now, they didn't actually have that before, in the releases, like in the like maybe a month ago. This is only recently that they started literally putting it in the description of the comic, and I think that should be on every one of the comics. So hopefully they kind of retroactively add this to all the exclusives, because the previous listings don't actually say like that it's exclusive to Veve. You actually have to go a step further to find out that, and most of them are okay. In the last like bunch of months, most of the comics they've released have done exclusive covers on the rare and the ultra rare, but a few haven't. So you want to check to make sure if you're interested in going down this road. And the way you can do that is if you actually, just a very simple way, you can just go to Google and you can just type Veve and then whatever comic book that you're looking at. And if you just search for that, the first things that'll pop up will be from medium.com. And medium.com shows all the releases that Veve's done. And so it'll actually take you right to that actual, comic. And then when you click on that, you can just scroll down, and in the description underneath the comic book art, it'll show you all the different covers. You can actually see, it actually tells you if it's like a variant, like a Veve exclusive or not. So that's where I found most of it. That's where you can as well. So anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you did, smash like. I hope to see you in the next video. Are you going after these ultra rare covers, these exclusive only to Veve? You can't get them anywhere else. So I think that that's pretty cool. Anyway, hope you have a great day and happy collecting.